Hey everybody, Steve Nixon with PianoLessonsOnline.com. Thank you so much for joining me here today. All right, in today's lesson, we're going to be taking a look at how to play a major scale, how to build it in all 12 keys. All right, now this lesson is going to be a little different than maybe some other lessons you've seen where they just teach you the notes of the scale and they don't explain what's going on. Okay, this is going to be a little deeper than that. It's going to be a little more useful for you. Okay, I'm going to teach you the formula behind the major scale. Understanding this formula is going to unlock a lot of doors for you. You're going to be able to use this to help you build chords, play chord progressions, play songs, play melodies, and even transpose in all kinds of different keys. So I think you guys are going to find this very useful. If you're new to PianoLessonsOnline.com, I notate lessons and throw extra tips and throw them on the site. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I will put the URL right below this video. All right, cool. Let's step over to the piano and get started learning this formula. Thanks. All right, so let's take a look at how to build a major scale. All right, so the first two pieces of information we need is we need to know what a half step is and what a whole step is, okay? So a half step is you start with any note, okay? Let's say we start with the note C, okay? And then what we do is we find the next closest note, all right? So this is a half step up, for example, and this would be a half step down, all right? So if we were to start from, let's say, A, C, D, E, F, G, A, okay? We would find that this note is a half step down because it's the next closest note, and this note is a half step up, okay? So now, what is a whole step? A whole step is two notes, all right? Two notes up or two notes down. So this is our half step, which is a half step up. This is a whole step, okay? So we would count those two notes. And once you get practicing this for a little bit, you can really kind of just see this very quickly visually. So here's my A again, right? This is a whole step higher. So there's the half step there, and this is the whole step. So a whole step is two half steps essentially. And this would be a whole step down from that A. All right. Now, one thing I want to quickly point out is not all the white notes are whole steps. Most of them are. So for like C to D is, F to G is, G to A to B, okay? But E to F is a half step, okay? And B to C is a half step. All right, so that's just sort of the basic information you need to have now. So let's teach you how to play this scale. All right, so here's a C scale, and we're gonna use this as our example key, but then once we do this, you'll know how to play it in all the other keys. All right, so the notes are C, D, E, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm sure you've heard that sound before. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find what the pattern of whole steps and half steps are, okay? So we start with a note, we have a whole step, okay? Then we have a whole step, and then we have a half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, all right? So the formula is two whole steps, then we have a half step, and then three whole steps, and then we have another half step. All right, let's do it in another key. We start with our note. Let's do the D major scale. Okay, find a whole step up from there. Okay, then we find a whole step up from there. Then we find a half step. Okay, because that's our first half step. Now we need three whole steps. One, here's the next one. The last whole step. There's half step, there's whole step. And then your half step again. So here's the scale. Let's do one more key. All right, let's do the G major scale now. All right, so first we start with our note G, okay? And then we have to find two whole steps up, all right? So we go 1, 2. Then we play our half step. Now we need three whole steps up. So from this C, here's a whole step. Here's another whole step. And then here's another whole step. See that whole step there? And then we finish off with a half step. So we're always gonna finish where we started, okay? So if we start with a G, we're gonna end with a G when we're playing the major scale. So listen to the whole scale together. All right, so your assignment is to memorize this simple formula. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, so 2 whole steps, break, 3 whole steps, break. Cool. So I would work this scale out in using this pattern in several different keys. In future lessons, I'll show you guys some good fingerings that you can use, but really this is more about just recognizing the pattern, okay? So you can even just use one finger right now as you're learning, you know, the layout of how to build this scale in all your keys. One last point I want to make. All right, so let's pretend, you guys know now the C major scale. Okay, so let's pretend I'm using this formula here, and somehow along the lines I miscount. So I go, okay, there's my starting note, whole step, and then I forget that the next one is a half step, and I go like this. So if it goes like this, see, it doesn't even sound right. So you also want to use your ear too, okay? Most people know what a major scale sounds like, so don't ever separate the ear from this formula. All right, I will notate this lesson and throw a bunch of extra tips on PianoLessonsOnline.com. If you're watching on YouTube, just check out the URL right below this video. Happy practicing, guys, and I will see you at PianoLessonsOnline.com. Thanks.